Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Your Inspired Books group coaching call. Today is April 9th. So, of course, I have to ask, did you guys get to see the eclipse? Beth shaking her head, yes. And Lena, yes. No, I thought you were saying yes. Um, yeah, we watched it from our deck, but we didn't have the glasses, which I was so bummed. I never even thought to get them. Never once heard anybody talk about those dumb glasses until the
Mm.
day of. And I'm like, so we did the whole box thing, we cut the hole in the box and you put aluminum foil on one side and then a piece of paper in here. And you could see it, and it's just about it's not even as big as your fingernail, and then we went and got a colander, and that, you get to see all kinds of the little moons shining through the holes of your colander, and so we did that, and we did a piece of paper, and it got you could tell that it was getting a little bit darker outside,
Mm.
but it was more like it's been darker on a thunderstorm type day.
Wow.
It where we were, it was the path was Indianapolis, and we're I don't know how many miles away from Indianapolis,
Mm.
several hours. And so we were, I think, at 90 or 95% view or whatever. And because we didn't have the glasses, we couldn't tell that it really eclipsed other than it was a little bit darker out, but not enough, like, it just looked like a cloud went over or something, it really didn't get dark where we were. So in a sense, we missed it, but we didn't. Had we had the glasses on, it would have been a lot more fun to be able to look
Mm.
up at the sun and see what was going on, but oh well.
Mm. Mm.
They said the next one is in 20 years, and if you want to see it, you have to go to North Dakota. And I'm like, well, I'm going home if I'm still alive. My home
I'm
state, yeah. Too bad it's 20 years from now. All right, enough about that. So today is a check-in day for all of us. So I just want to be able to hear from you guys where you're at, how things are going from the last month that we talked about, whatever goals maybe you've set, and just where you're at with things. Rod, I want to start with you because I know you're ready to publish. Maybe you did already. I don't know, but let's start with you.
all right. Yeah, it's all the book's fully formatted. We did one final um, run through the book and made a few changes. Went back to the formatter yesterday. Should be. We're going to upload it into Amazon today, and I'm going to order a review copy of the print book. But we're not officially launching until the 22nd.
Okay.
The PDF version went out to my launch group, and so they've got that in hand now. I've already had a couple of them that read the whole book, so it's not very long. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty easy. It's 60 total pages, but that's
Okay.
with blank pages in there and all of the extra pages that go along with it. So so it's a pretty easy read.
Good.
But yeah, so the 22nd will be the official launch
Okay.
date. Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. All right. And have you got very many people on your launch team?
Not as many as I was hoping. I have a huge list, and the last book, God's Financial Plan, I had almost all of them that reviewed the book. This time I've done several emails out, beyond those that had already accepted, and so it's smaller
Hmm.
than last time. But I'm going to hit them one more time and let them know there's still a chance to do it, and so
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
we'll add a few more at that point.
Yeah. When it's published too, you could also just when you're reaching out to people, sending
Yeah,
emails and stuff, you could say it's a real quick read.
yeah,
It's only X number of pages. You can read it in less than an hour or whatever, And that can maybe help entice some of them
Yeah.
to buy it, that maybe feel like, oh, I don't have time to read a book or whatever. Oh, it's only 60 pages. Okay, I
Yeah.
can read that, so that might be part of your marketing.
Yes. Yeah, I actually did that with a couple of friends of mine that had reviewed all of my books, all the ones that I've done through KDP, and they hadn't responded back to me, and so I went directly to them and said, "Hey, what's the deal here?" And they're, "Oh, we're just so busy right now." I said that it, it's probably 52 pages of reading. And it's not going to take you very long. I had one gentleman that read it in an evening.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they were like, "Oh, okay, all right, so I can do that."
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes people think of a book, they think of a book as something that takes hours, several hours and days to read.
Right.
They don't think about how long is this book. It's just,
Yeah.
I think because we grew up with books being usually longer,
Hmm.
that's our concept of what a book is. And
Yeah.
now there's a lot of short read books. And so
Right.
I think that helps to let people know that it's short and they'll not have to take as long.
Mm.
Good. I'm excited.
Yeah, I was pretty
Hey Rod,
excited.
are you going?
One of my friends that read it, he said, "Wow, I think this is the best book I've ever read. I'm putting you up with Tolkien, and I don't know, he named several other authors." I was like, "Wow, that
Wow.
I don't know that it was that
Hallelujah.
good."
I'll take it though, right?
You'll take
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, I'll receive it.
Good.
Sorry,
Hey
Lynn,
Rod,
I
I
think
was just going to ask, are you going to launch the just the ebook first or the print book or both?
no, I like to launch them both at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, I do things a little bit different, but I like to launch them both at the same time, and then I do a lot of promoting of both. I want the main reason this time is because this book is different than other books that I've done. This book is designed for people to buy multiple copies and give them to their friends, leave them out in their house. So when the rapture occurs, the people that are left behind find them. That's really the intention of the book. But also to educate, those today. There's a lot of confusion. Favorite pastor, it's a Chapel pastor in California, and he does a podcast, and he asks his listeners. He's got, I don't know how many, 200,000 listeners, some crazy thing like that, and he asks them for their top interest areas or their top questions, and he said that they're all about the rapture right now. He said almost every question that's coming in has something to do with the end times or the rapture, and so I think the timing is really good for this book to come out, and hopefully help those that are already believers maybe get a better view of it, and then also those that are left behind have something to look at to figure out what just happened.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Thanks, Rod.
You're welcome.
All right. Who wants to go next? Anybody?
I'll go next. It's tough. I think I'm chicken, like, I just can't put a date to set myself up for my ebook launch, but I've started to do the keyword search on Publisher Rocket. Man, it's hard work in a sense that I think of, like, I came up with a list of keywords, right? And all of them don't score very well from Publisher Rocket. So that leads to my next question for everybody. Is like, how do you guys come up with keywords?
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, different topics are, some topics are easier than others. I I remember, helping someone with theirs, and like I was having a tough time. Like they hired me to find their keywords and categories, and I was having a tough time because it just there wasn't a lot like you that scored well. And like things that you thought would be like, yeah, like there'd be lots of searches for this, and there just weren't. And so it was, you had to be creative, think whatever you can, try to come up with just words that, what are people really using these words, go out and find books that are like yours and see, like, look at their description, and are there some words in their book description that jump out at you? Even in people's reviews, you can look at people's reviews and see what they're saying. Those might give some clues as to words or phrases that people might put in. So yeah, because sometimes, our brain is so limited, we can only think of this many words and we can't think of anything else. And so that's another way of going out and trying to expand our thought process, to come up with ideas for words. And then when you do a search, look at everything else that's there, and see if you can pull from any of whatever does pull up. So yeah, it depends on the topic. There are some topics that are easier to find those keywords for, and than others. Some are just a little bit harder. And there may not be necessarily a topic, like for you, in the marketplace, we in the US, we don't necessarily talk like that in the marketplace. And so, we talk about our jobs and we talk about our employer and having to go to work, but we don't typically use the term marketplace. And so, for you, that might be a little bit more difficult in coming up with those keywords as well, if you're wanting to publish in the US, just because we may use different terms than what you use. And so that might be part of it as well. Try to look at the US language maybe versus, I mean, I don't know what you're looking all at, but that's just one that, I thought of, is because that's right in your title, the marketplace, and that's not a term that we typically use in the US. So anybody else has any ideas for hers on keywords?
Lena, I guess I found it kind of easy to use some keywords. I just kind of extracted some of the words in the title of my book: post-pandemic, wisdom, guideposts, reinventing. It was kind of obvious what words to use. I don't know. I would go back to my title and look for synonyms out of your title.
Yep, synonyms are a good idea. Now, I want to go back to what you just said though, Reg. When you're putting in your keywords, you're not supposed to put what's in your title, because your title and your subtitle are already keywords.
Okay.
Amazon treats them as keywords. So those 7 fields that you have, you want to come up with completely different things than what's in your title or subtitle. So you might want to go back in and amend those, because you're not getting as broad a base as you could. And Amazon doesn't like it when we do that. And knowing that they take your title and your subtitle and consider those as keywords as well, you're losing out on additional keywords that you could be using. Okay. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's
No, I'm glad I did too.
Kathy,
Yeah.
what about using double words?
Yeah,
You
you can use, when we talk about keywords, they don't have to be a single word. They can be a phrase.
Right.
So it can be, you know, hot plate, it could be, you know, summer fun, it could be, you know, it can be a whole phrase. It could be, you know, 3, 4 words or whatever, you know, 5 words, whatever. It could be a phrase. If someone would type in that phrase as a search phrase, you can use that as well. So it doesn't have to just be a word. It can be a combination of words as well.
Mm. Okay.
Yep.
And lastly, I asked the question because I remember when this came up 6 months ago or so about changing them.
Mhm.
You said, don't be so rushed if you're not drawing on them. So could we have just a word on that?
Yeah, you don't want to be out there changing them every month, you know, give it 6 months, you know, give it time for your book to be found, to be, you know, marketed, as people learn about it. Then there's, you know, algorithms that kick in and so forth. And you want to give people time to, first of all, you want to give Amazon that search history to go on. And if you're constantly changing your keywords, to find your book, that history is kind of all over the place. So you want to give it time to grow and develop. So I would give it a few months. Now, like Reg, if he's used, you know, if he's used his title as keywords, he'll want to go back in and make some changes now. You know, you definitely want to be able to do that. But it's not to say that out of those 7 fields that you have for keywords that you can be like thinking one day, like, you know what, that one keyword is really just not relevant. You can go out and change it. I mean, you've got 7 fields there and you can go out and change one, or you can change all of them. So you know, that's okay. You're not like, if you change one, oh, I have to change them all. You can change one field and leave all the rest alone. So you can examine them, you know, you can go out there every couple months or whatever and look at what you have and but
Okay.
don't get in the habit of changing them constantly. You know, give them several months to grow and get a history behind them.
Kathy, what would you think if, say, I can't find my 7 keywords, right? Like maybe I'll just put in 4 and then, you know, launch my book and then along the way probably add on to make it 7. Would you advise that?
I would do your best to fill all 7 out.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure if Amazon will, you know, if KDP, if it lets you go to the next field if you don't have all 7 fields completed. I'm not sure on that. Because I've never thought about not doing it. You know, so you know, it could be an interesting experiment. Just go out and put 4 in there or whatever and see if it lets you go to the next page. Because
Kathy, I tried that.
Yeah.
It won't let you.
okay,
You gotta put them in.
you got to put them in. So you got to
You
have
gotta put something in.
yeah, yep. You know, so there's lots of different things, you know, you can come up with, you know, at a grasp, you know, revelation, just, you know, go through your, you know, even go through your book and see what words maybe jump out at you that you didn't consider. But yeah, so you can, like I said, and you can put multiple words in a field. Like you don't have to just have one word in those 7 fields. You could have multiple, like you could have, like I'm just going to use Reg, just let's say this wasn't his title. So you could have, reinventing yourself, pandemic wisdom. You could have that all in one field.
Hmm.
Now you got
Hmm.
6 more you can fill out. So
Hmm.
you can combine words within a field as well.
Hmm.
You know, so
Hmm.
if you have a lot of keywords that you come up with, if you're that fortunate, you can pick out ones that really seem the most relevant and maybe put a few in one field. And a lot of times when you do that, like, so Dave Chesson, the one who is the creator of Publisher Rocket, he gave a teaching on when you're filling out those fields, like he likes to make them combinable. So, okay, I'm just gonna make this up because it sounds really stupid. Like, so he might have big teeth, ears, nose, and then so someone might not search for that phrase, but they might search for big teeth. They might search for big nose. They might search for big ears. So he puts words in there that can go with each other, if that makes sense. So then what Amazon does is it creates actually more keywords. So now instead of big ears, you've got a chance to have someone's big nose, big teeth, whatever. And so they're taking those and combining them into different combinations to create more keyword searches. So when you do that in a field, if you're going to combine words in a field, that's the best way to try to do it, is to put words in there that could actually be interchanged and create more keyword options. Good. Anything else? Good question, Lena. All right. Who wants to go next? Okay, I'm going to start calling on people. Diane.
I knew you were going to call on me. I just knew it.
Yep. Gotta pick on you.
Well, I tell you what, I am writing. I'm going to tell you this. I'm writing every day.
Good.
I do a synopsis of a call that I'm on, a prayer call that I'm on, and I have to base it on a scripture, and I do it every day, and I can whip that thing out now. It is.
That's awesome.
I'm not whipping out the word of the Lord, but I'm just telling you, it falls when you're staying true to writing. And so I am now in a place this week, maybe not this week, but next, that I can start to go back and put my 5 pictures that I'm going to put in this next book with the right image and get that done. And I did get done my praise report from my one dear friend who wrote that for me. So I got the beginning done. And then I have to tackle the cover. I'm done.
Awesome. So
Mm.
so when do you have a potential launch date in mind yet?
I don't. I really don't. And so I just knew I was not going to meet the first deadline, which was last year. Was clear to me, and so it's still clear to me. I'm on a red light yet.
That's good though. I love that you're writing every day and that you just
It's so exciting. I can't wait. And that if I have to curtail it, I go like, darn, I could just do better if I had about 10 more minutes.
Yeah. That's great. That's a great place to be in. That's good. All right. Perfect. Beth, I haven't heard from you in a while. So where are you at with your writing?
I'm still working with outlines and where I want things to go.
Mhm.
I've spent a lot of time this last week checking out Chat GPT and all the different AI things.
Yeah.
Just because I was always one that if you're going to use artificial intelligence to write the book, you're not writing the book. But I'm finding that's not true. So I'm looking at that. And one thing that I've seen a lot of is I get a lot of things for Grammarly and I get a lot of things for Pro Writing Age. Has anyone used either of those, and which is the better of the two, do you think? And I'm just checking out things like that to get help later on down the road when the book is written and I know that I need to be working on other stuff.
I've not used Pro Writing Aid. I've used Grammarly. They have a free and a paid version. I have the free version. And it's very helpful.
It is.
Is that what you use, Diane?
It is. And, I don't think my grammar is always great. So I don't worry about that while I'm writing it, but I do run every single word through Grammarly.
Mm,
to just catch myself on where I've messed up.
Yeah.
mm.
Like as you write a chapter, well, typically you don't want to worry about any of your editing until you're done writing,
Exactly.
but at the, you could do one chapter at a time if you wanted to. If it depends on your personality, whatever. But for the most part, the reason and I say we as most coaches out there will tell you, just write your rough draft, write that first draft and don't worry about grammar or nothing. Because when you stop to do some of these other things, you start to get in your head more and you kind of lose that momentum you had for writing. Now you're worrying about, oh, this doesn't sound good. And then you're questioning yourself. And next thing you know, you find yourself never finishing your book. And that's why we say, get the rough draft written, because then at least it's written. And then you can go back and worry about the grammar and the cleanup and all of that. Because now at least you've gotten all those thoughts and everything on paper, so to speak. You've written it out, and now you can clean it up. You can add, you can subtract, you can do all the grammar and punctuation, all that kind of stuff. So that's the thought behind it, to not be doing any editing as you're writing, because it can interrupt your flow of writing and cause you to get in your head and question things and then feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. What am I doing? I shouldn't be writing this book. And it just, like, literally people can just go all over the place. Whereas if you just focus on writing and that's it, you stay in that mindset of writing and you're going to finish your book. You have a much better chance of finishing your book if you do it that way. But yeah, Grammarly is one. Like I said, they have a paid or a free. I know a lot of people use Pro Writing Aid. I personally, unless you're someone that's gonna write a lot of books, there's a lot of help out there for free. And Grammarly is one that's gonna help you out a lot. The other one is Hemingway. That one also is, I think it's Hemingway, is free. And they're different. One is more on grammar, one's more on, I think, like spelling and punctuation and stuff. And then, get your book as cleaned up as you can, just using those free resources. And then the editor is going to read through your book and pick up on other things. You want your book as clean as possible before it ever goes to an editor. But the editor is then going to pick up on the rest of it. So, or at least, they're human too. So, and they also run it through programs usually. So, and they might have Pro Writing Aid, they might have a different one. And so they can pick up on other things as well. So, I just say keep your expenses down. And unless you are writing a lot of books, and would utilize those tools over and over and over and over again, don't spend your money on them, because there are free resources to help you out.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. And as far as, your outline, that's great. Don't get too hung up on it though, because as you write, you might change your mind where you want things anyway. The outline is a good accountability thing or whatever to, see where you're at and what you want to write on or whatever. But as far as the order goes, you may end up changing it anyways once you do your editing phase.
Okay.
Awesome. Good questions. Love it. Love it. All right, Reg.
Well, first of all, Kathy, you took me back to fourth grade. I had a teacher named Bevilacqua, and she would stand up in front of the class and ask a question, and everybody would sink down into their seats. And she would walk by my desk and stop and look at me and say, "What do you got to say, Mr. Bradford?" And just like you said, okay, I'm going to call on people. That's what she would say. And I had flashbacks of that.
Oh no, I don't know if that's probably not a good memory.
No, I Miss Bevilacqua, I can remember because she was a great teacher.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, they will put up the revised because they made mistakes on my cover for the paperback version.
Oh,
And we had to kind of get some stuff straight. And it takes, after you kind of send them, if they make mistakes, it takes another 72 hours to get those right. So they're telling me on Wednesday they should have the cover right for the paperback and it should be up. So that's where we're at in the book.
okay. So once the cover is
And,
fixed, you're ready to publish it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yep.
Well, once it is, put it in the Facebook group so we all know about it. And
Okay.
anybody wants the paperback, they can go out and get that. And just to clarify, is your birthday today?
April 9th.
All right.
Oh, happy birthday to you.
Happy
you, Diane.
Birthday
birthday.
to you. Birthday, dear Ed.
The big 7-0.
Big 7-0.
Whoa.
Whoa, baby.
Big 7-0.
So he's in
Very
Nashville
thankful.
celebrating.
Very thankful and grateful to be alive. A lot of people my age don't make it to 70 for different reasons. And I can put 2 sentences together. I can go to gym 5 days a week. And I am walking in super divine health, and I'm just a bit grateful.
That's
So thank you. Thank you for the rendition, Diane. Oh,
Oh, your internet connection is unstable. Is that you or me?
is it?
The recording stuff. Yeah. There.
Oh,
There
there
she
she is. She's back.
I think it was my internet connection that went bad. Reg,
Mhm.
when,
Yeah.
when you were talking, Reg, you were kind of going in and out a little bit, and then I got this unstable connection, and then I thought it was you, and then like, wait a minute, that wouldn't flash on my screen, that would flash on his, and then boom, I was gone.
Did the rest of you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I
Yeah,
heard
we could
most
hear
of
you.
what you said. It was just every once in a while you cut out. Well, that was
Okay.
weird. I don't know why that happened.
Solar eclipse.
Yeah, must be remnant.
Where have you gone? How about a title of a book we're just hearing about? Where have all the
Where you
people gone? Where have all the Kathys gone?
Yeah. Boom, gone. Rod, better get that book out.
Really?
Oh no, we don't want to be those left behind.
We all got left behind.
Yeah, trust me,
Hey,
I don't
you
think
know-
I'd go before any of you.
We all got left behind. Wow.
I dream, okay. I dream of the second coming of Christ when I was young.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it
Well,
scare
what did
you?
you dream,
or-
Lena?
I dreamt that, okay, in Singapore, like most of us live in apartments, right? So I was like standing at the window of my kitchen, and then there was like a wind, and like, there's like, it felt as if like tornado is happening and like things are flying in the air. And then it's like, I just knew that in the dream that it was like Christ is coming back, right? So in my dream, it's like, I say, oh, let's look for my disciple maker. If she's around, if she's not around, means rapture has happened. But in the dream, it's like, oh, shucks. Of course, now that I look back, I say, oh, shucks. If that's the case, that means I've been left behind. And if she's gone, it means I'm left behind.
Rod, are you going to have
You
to
should
add a
say that.
Singapore chapter? Are you going to have to add a Singapore chapter?
That's good. That's good. All right, who do we got left? We got Annette and Carolyn.
Well, I have so much I can't even think of it. It's just like,
Well, first, just let me say you look absolutely beautiful in that hot
I
pink.
agree. I totally agree with that.
thank
Me
you,
too, me
thank
too.
you. When I was praying this morning, I mean, I have like 3 or 4 projects going on, and they are all major things that I'm doing. And I said, God, I just feel like I believe that the one is really a lot more effective, but at this point, it's like going to high school. You have 7 classes you have to pass. And I said, I'm in it. I have to do it. And So, I just kind of boil down what is the common denominator in everything I'm doing. And I say it's building a following. It's building a group of people who are committed to what I'm doing and what I'm saying, and that is helping and is transforming their lives. So that's really where I say. I mean, I say I have to find a place. I'm have to find a way to work more effectively while I'm learning all of the other details, and of social media, and because everything I'm doing needs social media, everything I'm doing needs marketing. And I got on this group called Alignable. Not that I want y'all to do anything else, because I'm like a bumper car. It's just saying, like, I just go like wherever the day just bumps me around from one thing to the next. And but it's a networking group called Alignable, and just going through my emails, which you have to do that too. And this is my motto: everything takes time. So, Beth, if you're reading and learning, that takes time, and that's something, because to learn takes time. To figure out the tools you want to use takes time. Every single thing is taking time. So it's, you may feel like you're not doing anything, but if what you're doing is contributing to your end game, to your goal, then it's still, you're going to have to do it eventually. And I heard somebody say, it might have been, I know it wasn't you, Kathy, but I heard somebody say that, you can hire somebody to do all of your work for you. The problem is they end up taking over your job. So because they know it better than you, and if you are developing your own business, you have to know what it takes to run that business. You have to know what a good editor is like. You have to know marketing yourself in order to be able to know, if your marketing is being efficient, if it's working the way it should. You have to be a good writer. You have to know good writing to even hire a good writer. You have to be familiar with every stage of your business. Otherwise, you're going to be 3 years down the road and still not know very much more yourself, because you've kind of like hired it all out for somebody else to do. And it's important to do, but I think, I'm learning to set, more realistic goals. I really do want to set the world on fire in, 6 months. But it's kind of like investing with money. You have to have the long game in mind.
Yeah.
You have to have a 5-year goal and then break it down and see where I want to be in 5 years or in 3 years, not where I want to be in 5 weeks or in 5 months. It really does make a difference. And so where am I focusing my time right now? Focusing my time is learning to focus my time. To be I wake up every day and I say, God, God, this is where I am. Now help me to be productive today. Productive.
Amen.
That means in the day feeling like I have accomplished something, that I didn't just run around in circles, and that I wasn't doing nitpicky things that didn't matter as well. Because writers can do that, because we have that type of brain where we get lost in the weeds sometimes.
Yeah.
And I say, Lord, I don't want to get lost in the weeds. I want to do what's important to do. Even if it's not making dollars today, it's contributing toward, getting there. Maybe, I didn't reach the people that I want to reach today, but what I'm doing is moving me closer toward that goal. Of reaching the people. So I do get frustrated, have been frustrated, like most of you are, with the process, because it is slow and tedious, and it's you seem like you take 2 steps backwards before you take before you move ahead. But at the same time, I look back over the years, I say I have learned. I'm not where I was a year ago. I'm putting it that way.
Yeah.
I'm not in my knowledge, not in my skills. I do know more, am further down the road. Uh, but just looking at businesses, studying businesses, most people are saying you don't even become really successful. People used to say 3 years. They say like 15 years, you're ready to actually start hitting a really strong goal of what they call exponential growth. Because you've just been working, laying the foundation, building the core group, getting the structure down, getting the infrastructure, doing all of the things that we would never do if we knew how much work it took.
Yeah, exactly.
We kind of take the journey, start the journey, and then we start discovering along the way all of the other parts of the journey. But I mean, it's good. It's good. And I am growing, and I do have a list of customers, and I am getting more confident, and I am getting my verbiage down better. My 30-second commercial, what do you do? And I can say it in a way that I'm getting better at it. I'm not great at it yet, but I'm getting better at kind of whittling down exactly what my brand is.
Yeah,
So when
yeah.
people say Annette, then they say, oh, she does this. You
Yeah.
really ought to talk to her about that, So it's a process.
Yeah. And and you're right. It's like, and it reminds me of the conversation we had, I don't know, a week or two ago, whenever it was, about, going back to your why are you wanting to do this? That's your end goal. But now what steps do you need to take to get there? And it's all a process. And we live in a microwave society, and we want it now. And the internet is filled with people saying, claiming all this overnight success. I ran my first challenge and I made $10,000, whatever. But they don't tell you that they spent 12 years getting to that point.
Exactly.
So there's a
Mhm.
lot of behind the scenes that we never hear about, and people try to just make it sound like they were an overnight success because they want to sell whatever it is they're selling, and try to sound like, I got this all figured out. Well, it took them 10, 12 years to get there or whatever. So it is a process. And yeah, your first 5 years, I think you're experimenting. You're growing your audience, you're figuring out what your offer is, what your product is, and then you tweak it. Once you get some customers in, maybe you tweak it. I mean, just like right now, I'm in the process of tweaking things that, I felt like now it's time for me to change up, my workshops and my offer a bit. But it's a process. And we just need to take those steps, and I like, okay, I like what you did, and you're like, okay, I got this, this, and this, and this, and this. Is there a common theme kind of through all of them? And you were able to identify a common theme that was involved in all of them, and that's a great start. And when you write out what steps do I need to take, it's like, okay, I can start with this. I'm going to start with this. And as you check those things off, like you said, you're getting one step closer. And it's just, it takes time to build a business. It takes time.
Oh, and Beth, I use ProWriting Aid as well. I've used it since I used it to write my book. I use it to edit. It is a wonderful tool. It has so many different ways to use it than just grammar. It helps you with your sentence length. It helps you to identify repetitive words. It helps identify when your punctuation is even different, or you use your italics one way in one place, but another way in another place. Say, which one do you want to use? For consistency. It does have a lot of aid. I did do the purchase version because it was cheaper than an editor because I did use editors and they miss stuff. And it also helps you to know, like, if you want your sentence to be, if you want it to be formal, informal, or really complicated or intellectual or whatever. It helps you to do a lot of different, to identify a lot of different things. concerning your script. But it's like Kathy said, when you first start, you just write, you write the best you can. I can't just write, Kathy, the way you said, because if I see an error, then I'm
Oh,
going to,
oh yeah. I mean, I'll be typing and it's like, I can feel that I made a
yeah,
mistake.
yeah, I made a
I'll correct
mistake
it,
and
you
correct
know,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you write, because all of us who have written know that it may sound like amazing one day, and then you go back and look at it the next week, and you go like, what in the world
Yeah.
was that?
Yep. Exactly.
What
Yep.
were you
The world.
okay, let's say that a little differently. So, even when you're writing, trying to make sure you're saying it amazing, you're still going to go back a month later, and read it again and make some improvements on it. So you
Yeah.
just
And
keep writing.
what I found, like for me, is like, okay, so I was at a stopping point and then maybe I didn't write for a day or two, and I go back in, and so I read over what I wrote so I knew
Mhm.
where to pick up, and then I might be like, oh yeah, and I'll change that so that I can, because otherwise I might not be able to really get the flow going, and that type of thing is okay. It's just the whole overall editing of things. If you're typing along and you don't really think about, you're just typing, and if you were to stop and go back and read everything, yeah, the sentence may not sound all great. So there's sometimes some minor editing along the way, but the overall editing, just try to hold off. Just and then I also wanted to bring up Beth, because I was gonna mention this and I forgot when you brought up AI. It's not wrong to use AI to help you write your book. It's wrong to let AI write your book.
Right.
It's meant to be a tool to give you ideas to, like you can say, I'm writing about this and or here's this, like I did for an email for my workshop. I'm building out my sequence and I just couldn't come up with the words to make it sound good. So I wrote out the email that I wanted. And then I went to ChatGPT and I said, okay, I'm trying to create an email sequence for someone who purchases this or whatever. And, here's the email that I came up with. Can you improve upon it? So they took what I did and they reworded things and stuff. And it like, oh, that just sounds so much better,
So much better.
And so it was still my thoughts. It was just put into better words. When you upload your book to Amazon, they have added a feature now where you have to say if you've used AI or not to write your book. So if you're using AI, and here's the breakdown, if you're using AI to get ideas, you don't have to say you used AI. But if you take and let AI write it, and you maybe change a couple of words here and there, you have to say AI wrote your book. I mean, you have to, and you don't want to lie about it, because they have means where they can go out and it runs through programs or whatever, and they can tell if AI wrote it or not. So you're going to have to just be honest about it. But if you're using it as a tool to assist you, then you don't have to say AI, you used AI to write it. If you're letting AI actually write it, even portions of it, and you don't really change it much, then you have to disclose that you used AI. And then I think there's different, like for all of it, for some of it, like there's different choices, then you have to let them know how much you use. But yeah, I mean, AI, like anything, as we've talked about before, AI is not a bad thing. It's how we use it. So. All right, Carolyn, anything to share with us today?
Kathy, all that I can share at this point, that I've reached out to some of the formatters that you supplied me, you recommended. So I've reached out to them, waiting to hear back on pricing, and that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's all I can say at this point.
So how are you coming along with, as far as your social media posting or what, any kind of trying to build your audience.
I need to get back into the swing of things. I've been excuse me. Um my health has been challenged for the last 2 weeks. So trying to get just get back out there. It's just been a little challenging for me. I know I can do it.
Yeah,
So
I get it.
so that's it. That's
Yeah.
it, Kathy.
Okay, well, hopefully you can get some quotes back and get that portion moving forward. So,
Yes.
yeah, wanna see you get your book published here
Yes.
soon. That's really the final piece. I mean, if you have your cover and everything else, you're getting that formatting is the final piece. So,
Yeah. I was talking actually to a mentor a week ago, and they were asking me like, okay, so what, what makes you an authority on this topic, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I'm just interested in I have a passion for it. I said, well, and then I just said it real quickly. And yeah, I wrote 2 ebooks on it. And he's like, wait a minute, you wrote 2 ebooks. Why didn't you tell me this at the beginning? I'm like, I didn't think it was going to, make a big deal. I mean, make a difference.
yeah.
He said, that's what you're going to let people know, that you've written 2 ebooks on this. He said, don't downplay that. He
Mhm.
says, is what's going to make you the authority on your subject matter. So I'm like, okay. And I felt really, good after talking with him, because I felt like I was making some headway, but then I wasn't making the headway that I would have liked.
Mhm.
So once he said that, I'm like, okay. I said, no, all has I have made progress. I just need to um stop being harder on myself than what I should. I've made progress. Thanks to you, Kathy.
Oh,
Um, so this has really been it's been extremely helpful. And again, um, your class keeps me going.
I appreciate that. Well, I just want to encourage you too, all of you, when anybody's asking you questions about what you're doing or working on or whatever, talk with confidence about it. Yeah, you've written 2 ebooks. It's a lot more than other people have done, but you have experience too, and talk with authority, talk with confidence. Even if deep down inside you don't feel confident, try your best to let it come out as confident. You know, talk, when you talk, just matter of factly, you know. It just is, you know your stuff, and don't question yourself, don't come across as, like, oh, I don't know, or whatever. Just own it. Own it. You are the authority. You know more than other people know. That makes you an authority. You just need to be one step ahead of somebody else. And you have you have that experience, you have that gives you authority because you know something somebody else doesn't. And so just own it the best you can, talk with the authority, because that's going to come across to them. If they pick up that you feel confident about what you're talking about, then they're going to feel confident in working with you or buying your book or referring you to somebody. They may not need your services at all, and may not be interested in your book at all because it just has absolutely nothing to do with what they're doing in their life. But they may know somebody, and they may say, hey, I just talked to somebody, and man, she is just so confident about what she's doing, and she just wrote 2 ebooks, check it out, so people spread the word. So just hope that helps.
Kathy?
Yeah.
I was listening to the Weather Channel over this solar eclipse thing, and one of the hosts, and I don't know if it was Phil Cantel, said the solar eclipse is moving. It's going to move through certain areas through the United States on a kind of elliptical pattern. And he looked at it, he said, everything in the universe is always moving. Nothing in the universe is at a standstill or stops. And I listened to that and I said, that goes for us too. We have to keep moving. Nothing in the universe is at strictly a standstill. Things in the universe are always moving, and we have to keep moving,
Yeah.
whether struggling, moving like a snail, or running fast.
Yeah,
We have to keep moving too, because the rest of the universe is moving.
it is. And it's not going to stop because we stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Raj. And just also to add, to what Carolyn was saying is like life gets in the way. I've shared with you different health problems I've had over the years and then losing my sister and then losing my father-in-law and it's like I have tried so hard to level up this business over the last year and it's like it's one thing after another that stands in my way. And I was just talking to my husband last night and I said, God knows, because we were over in Iowa last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, cleaning out my father-in-law's estate, filled up a cubic yard dumpster to the top, and now have to refill another one because we didn't finish. And so we're going back over this weekend. And it's like, and he's like, you can stay home and, so you can do some work. And like, no, I'm not letting you go over there by yourself. His brother's not going to be there. He's out of town. And so I'm like, no, you're not doing this by yourself. And I told him, I said, God knows, my family has to come first and God knows all of this. And it's hard though. Some days I get discouraged. Some days I feel like I'm letting them down, and then I wake up and realize that God knows all of this and and it just is and sometimes I don't know, I can't explain it, is is the enemy attacking me? Is God putting obstacles in my way for some reason? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that all out and I still see what God wants and everything, but um it's easy to beat ourselves up. I know I'm the queen of that sometimes. And the bottom line is, like Reg said, I mean, just even if we're moving at a snail's pace, just keep moving. Every little bit, like Annette said, every little bit gets you a little bit closer to what you want to do. And you might not be one of those overnight successes, but you might, with the hare and the turtle wins the race because slow and steady, instead of zoom, and then everything blows up or whatever. So I hope that's encouraging. I was going to show you something today that I've been working on, but I'll wait and save it for next week. I think we talked about a lot of good things that hopefully has helped you out. You've got some questions answered and it can help you to keep moving forward. And that's what these calls are about. So thank you for sharing, everyone. I appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful week. And see you next Tuesday. And don't forget to go out and put your wins in the Facebook group. I want to see them. All right. Have a great week, you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Kathy, bye-bye, everyone.